What? What's up?
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Real Horror. Hi, Hannah Selector.
Hi.
So, it's 2022. Happy New Year, folks.
Whew,
First of
we made
all,
it.
we did. And we're planning on doing a monthly live stream where we do these, chats about movies. So, for January of 2022, Hannah honestly found the perfect movie. So she asked me about, what kind of theme we should go for. And I was like, well, it's the new year. Let's do like the unknown. We could do some space or some deep sea stuff. And in like the most impressive amount of time, it's so short, you got back to me and you're like, I found it. How about this? Uh,
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon, which is what we ended up going for, which is set in 2022 and is this unknown, space sci-fi horror movie. So
Yeah.
really came through with that.
I got lucky. It turns out there are two horror movies that I found that are set in 2022 from a past time. This one and The Purge. There might be others, I don't know, but those were the first two that came up, and this one happened to fit perfectly. So,
Yeah, I had no idea about The Purge. That's so weird to
yeah,
me.
I mean, they're not wrong on that one. Getting pretty close
Yeah, that is
to that kind of
suspiciously
vibe.
close. Yeah.
Too
Um,
grim. We had to go some other direction.
yeah, this just was too fun to not. It was I was
Right.
The other one definitely hits a little too close to home. It's like
Hmm.
let's save that one. We're still probably going to talk about The Purge
Yeah.
though. But I also wanted to let you know that in
Nice.
yeah, I've got my alien cup just on theme.
It's
It's,
very
it's
good.
Roswell, but it's still, I felt like this was the right mug choice for the day. It was
Yeah.
this or my 9/11 memorial mug, which doesn't, which you would not know
I'm
has
sorry. That
anything.
was the completely wrong reaction to have to something like that.
Well, no, it's,
But
I got it at a thrift store and it has all these dogs on it. It's super cute. And so
dogs.
yes, and I was drinking out of it and then I went to wash it and I flipped it over and it says 9/11 memorial. And I was like,
No.
this has, oh, I didn't know. So now I have that.
Now
I
I'm like, are those the seeing eye dogs that
No, they're like
I don't
different.
know.
They're all different breeds. They don't look like very useful dogs. I'm sure they're very good, special dogs, but it's
Oh
like
no.
I think it's like an art. I have no idea really what it is,
Yeah. That's
but
hilarious though. I
that's why
love
I
a
didn't.
thrift store mug.
Yeah, just randomly surprise 9/11 memorabilia.
Yeah. I
Great.
like the employee accomplishment mugs, like 30 years at this place or whatever, and I got this fucking mug that
Yeah.
now some disrespectful lady in North Carolina is drinking out of
Do you have
because
some of those?
oh yeah,
That's
for
awesome.
like something something Dodge Ford Jeep and one from like an accounting place.
Oh,
Not Raymond James, one of the other ones, but it's like, oh, thanks for your 30 years. Here's this mug.
you're gonna have to bring those out in
Fuck
the
you.
next stream. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
We have Riley in
Yeah.
the chat. Love
Yay!
that. Things things this movie gets right about 2022.
Yeah.
Mullets make a huge comeback. Honestly, that's so true. Yeah, you Anna texted
I
me
was
a
mind
space
blown.
mullet. Yeah.
I had the chronology of when mullets were popular. Like, I thought by 1990 that they were out, but
Oh
apparently
no.
not.
No.
So, and it was like a straight mullet, it was straightened. I
Hmm.
was
I
mind
think
blown. But
that's kind
yes,
of the
space mullet.
evolution. Like they got straighter as time went on.
Yeah, because I feel like they used to really tightly perm them always,
Yeah.
but then this was more of a something else.
Hmm.
He could have braided it. That would have been a thing. But yeah, in 2022, mullet's still going strong.
That's
This
such a
movie
good point.
was like completely made up of character actors. It was such an interesting experience to be like, I've seen this person's face, but I have no idea who they are. And it
Yeah.
turns out they are all basically character actors who are people who appear in lots and lots of films in very small, often distinct, but not really that integral roles.
Right.
Um, did you notice that the asshole scientist guy was the bartender from The Shining?
No, I didn't clock that at
He's
all.
Lloyd from Kubrick's Shining. So
Wow.
he
Okay.
was probably like the biggest star who was in that movie.
And he was one of them that I was like, this dude is seriously falling short compared to the others acting wise. Like,
Right.
there were some lines that he delivered that I was like, the fuck? When he's so when that girl is strapped to the bed and she's like shaking around and he gets like on the little FaceTime thing to tell them, he's like, there's something down here you need to come see quick. And then like walks over and I was like, they couldn't have done another take on that. This like beautifully shot. I was honestly so surprised at how like visually and like cinematically
was
just
pretty impressed.
really, yeah, like I was like,
You know,
this is
for
a
what it was.
straight to video film that
Yep.
looks really good.
We tried to find the budget. We could not. Like, the information about this movie is just so limited because it was the teeniest, tiniest blip in, film of all time. Like,
So
there's
strange.
no information.
Yeah.
Was pretty impressed by our main guy. I forget the name of the actor, something Bledsoe, but I thought he was actually quite passable as an actor and handsome enough that maybe he could have had
Yeah.
like
He
a
could have gone on
career,
to do
but he
some stuff.
basically only did 3 movies, so maybe he found a more fulfilling path.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Good
opened a
for him.
CBD shop or something. I don't know, but he didn't do movies after the 90s. He's like gone. I don't know what he's up to.
Well, he had a wonderful mullet, and that's
He
what
did.
counts. Riley says the only guy I clocked was Big Glasses guy from Blade Runner.
Yeah, was that the doctor character
I haven't seen
or
Blade Runner.
the captain? It was either Flynn or because I did also look that up, but I didn't actually realize that it was him. I
Yeah,
kept
don't
thinking
know.
that it was somebody else. The captain guy, the older guy, who I think was the captain, Flynn, he was in Bonanza back in the day. Like, did you ever watch that when you were a kid?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. It's
Rip. What's Bonanza? Was it
silly.
a TV show?
Yeah. It's about these 3 guys who own a farm,
Oh.
the Ponderosa, and they're cowboys, sort of. There's some, conflict.
Well, that
And-
sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah. It has a very recognizable theme song.
I like
And
that.
then the sequel to Bonanza is Ponderosa. It used to be on this thing called PAX TV when I was a kid, which was the vaguely Christian channel. Whatever.
It's fitting for
Anyway.
this fucking film. I had no idea where this was going, and holy shit. So,
Yeah.
just initial thoughts for me, I was like, it's impossible to deny like the direct correlation between this film and the earlier and much better, executed Alien.
Right. It was kind of like Alien meets The Thing meets mediocrity.
Yeah.
Like,
There was
sorry
a
to
lot
say.
and it seemed like there was so much potential. It looked so good.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting was incredible. Like, stuff wasn't cheesy. The set was amazing. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
how does this look so good and yet it's not really doing anything?
There was no tension to speak of. Not for one single second did I feel, and even though the situation was like perilous objectively, the basic premise of the story is that there are a repair crew who works in space. They are going to work on a radioactively powered satellite to fix it, which is considered like a dangerous job. They did the Star Wars scroll.
Very
Yeah,
dangerous.
exactly.
that
And-
beginning text scroll
I loved it.
was really slapped.
The movie is a vibe, even if it's
Mhm.
not good, which it's not. It really is not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say necessarily that it was worth a watch.
I mean, I liked
was-
it enough. I liked it
It was
purely
fine.
for the vibes and like the look and just to
Right.
see like the.
Do you want to
the
feel the
story.
90s?
Yeah.
The 90s space nostalgia? I wanted to know if they used the Star Wars method for the spaceship, where it's like a little plastic
Yeah,
figure.
definitely. Yeah.
That because it looks good. It really does not age. That
Mhm.
method straight up looks good when you film it.
It really
But
does.
yeah, and so they're going to repair this satellite, and they suddenly lose all of their systems, and that's where the peril sets in, because that means oxygen, temperature, everything is going out, and they have a very limited amount of time to fix it. And suddenly they stumble upon the spaceship Discovery, which is a
Yeah.
NASA ship, of course, that everyone's heard of. And NASA's been defunct for 30 years in this version of 2022. So
That was
not
interesting.
quite accurate prediction. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder what happened there. That would have been something interesting to talk about.
Truly, yeah. I'm
in the
like, let's get
movie.
into that. There's a lot of things that they just kind of say, like let's just
Now, put
call
that
it
budget into the
convenient.
sexy robot.
Yeah, the robot. I love that.
So dumb.
But I want to. Oh yeah. So they stumble across this spaceship that had been crash landed into the Bermuda Triangle, and it's out in
Right.
space on the dark side of the moon. And then that's kind of where they start
The plot is
their
not very
adventures.
deep.
No,
Super simple,
it's
you
also not
know.
very like well paced. There are times when I'm
No.
like, what just happened? That all moves so fast. And then there's other times where it's like a 45-second sequence of them just walking with guns. And I'm like, just get there. This isn't tense. Like, you're trying to build
Right.
tension with this music, but the walking, just watching someone walk, doesn't make me feel scared.
They had to show off the hallway that they made, you
Yeah.
know,
Which I
because
loved. But yeah, the story wasn't amazing, but I think for like the retro future vibes and the 90's and just yeah, just the vibes. I think it was worth it for me.
vibes, good vibes,
Good
you
vibes
know.
in that film.
I kept thinking to myself, like, if I were transported back to college and this had been like, say, a student film, I would have been super impressed, you know, and I would have like probably not very much bad to say about it. Like it just it needed to mature in a few ways, film ways. The actors did fine. I don't think anybody was like, the robot lady questionable, the evil scientist guy questionable, I guess. But it really wasn't, that wasn't the part that was bad. It was really just that the story had like all of the depth of like a puddle in the parking lot, and
Yeah.
it was a little bit too basic.
Yeah, the
Not that a
dialogue
story
could
can't
have
be
been punched
simple.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, a simple story
So
doesn't have to be, a game or a
right.
what is this? What am I a deal breaker for a film.
No, not at all. And sometimes like a straightforward story is great. It's not that I need like a heavy secondary meaning. This just wasn't executed properly.
Yeah, definitely.
Um yeah, so the Bermuda Triangle is the portal out to the butt of the moon,
Space.
basically.
Oh, I love the show me the coordinates on the moon as they correspond to the Bermuda Triangle, and it's like a triangle on Earth, a triangle on the moon, and a
Yep.
line connecting them. And it
Just a
was
tunnel, triangle, tunnel out to space.
so good. I don't the fucking
Oh,
the when but so with me not knowing where this was going,
hmm.
um, when he's like the Bermuda Triangle, I was actually like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like I like that.
You
I'm
would
really
think it
into
would be
that.
interesting,
And then
but then it wasn't.
as it goes on and things are weird but not really like distinctly telling us why they're weird. It's like her heart rate is so high she should explode or something, like her blood pressure, and I'm like, well, okay, so what is this? And then they have this the head coming out of the stomach, and I'm like, alien, nice. And then
Yeah.
it's a triangle. He's like, it's a perfect triangle, and I'm like, oh, because of the Bermuda Triangle, his wound
So
is a perfect triangle. I was like, what are they doing with this? Like, there was
this
so
is the
long.
this is the perfect opportunity to talk about like the streaming issues that I had watching this. So I watched this on Tubi. Ty watched it on
Amazon,
Prime,
yeah.
but for whatever reason, we kept running into this issue where it would play the same 10-second sequence three times before it would move on
Oh
to the
my
next part of the
god.
movie. So I'm like, is this supposed to be like the Bermuda Triangle, like for me as the viewer? But it turns out no, it was just some issue with the streaming service.
That's
And
funny. Yeah, that's
so,
too
like,
meta for 1990, but that
I
would
mean, yeah, it
honestly
was too
slap.
deep.
Yeah.
It reminded me of this time that I was watching Antichrist with friends in college, and we had the slow mo part at the beginning in slow mo. So it was like
Oh my
super slow. And we're all like, fuck, this is so artsy. Like,
god.
this was a decision. And
Oh
then
my
finally
god.
somebody realized that, oh, it's
We're
actually just
playing it in
supposed to be
slow motion.
regular slow mo, not like super duper. But yeah, so what was you sort of indicated that you had some issues too. Was it that it was
Yes.
billed as a 2019 movie on Prime? Because I
That
thought it
was
was the
so
wrong
weird.
one.
I know. Well, I didn't even see that till after I was watching it, and then I was like, well, obviously not. But when part of that too is the opening credits of the film were clearly like made after this film,
With
because
the
these are
fire?
like, yeah, I'm like, these are very recent, and then it cuts to like this rolling screen of this blurry text, and I'm like, okay, there we go.
Yeah,
Now that's what I
much
was
better.
that's what I was waiting for. But what I had problems with mostly were the ads. They were so frequent and at the worst fucking times, the way they timed them out at
Oh,
one point. So at the end, when the villain of the film approaches the computer lady and she
Yeah.
says, "Stay away from me, you motherfucker." It cut for me to an ad right as she goes, "Mother F." And then it's like, ding, ding, "Have you tried these new Glade plugin?" And I'm like, no, I wanted to hear the robot say fuck. It's like,
Why did that happen? For the entire movie, she's not an autonomous being at all. She literally only exists when they power her up to ask her like a question. But then suddenly Satan walks up to her and she's like a full-on lady being like, "Stay the fuck away from me." You know?
it's so weird. And the fact that like the decision for them to make that computer a full woman, like we're gonna make our AI
Yeah,
a
rendered,
body,
low cut.
yeah,
Yeah.
fully zoom in on her tits like 3 different times in the film for no reason.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but stylistically I was like, okay, this is like a really fun, like the way they have these sequences of like her and the way she's lit and like the someone asking her questions. I was like, well, that makes for a fun visual, even though it makes no fucking sense as to why they would need to build and power a full cyborg person or, you know, robot.
You know, that science guy was making it with the computer.
Oh,
So,
definitely. Yeah, no question.
yeah,
about
otherwise, why fully render that whole thing? She could have just been a voice.
that. Yeah,
You know?
yeah, for
And
sure.
her name was Leslie.
Leslie, and there was no
They
like
didn't-
explanation
No
of an
acronym, no
acronym.
nothing. Her name's just Leslie.
Leslie.
Jennifer, Kathy.
Hey, Leslie,
You know.
let me know
Because
about the
usually
fucking
it's like,
ships.
you know, her name is Edie, but it's like electronic discovery interface or something, you
Yeah.
know, something funny. But no, just Leslie.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
There were so many decisions in this film that I'm
I
like,
know!
why did that happen? Why are bodies falling from the ceiling? What and like what is the wait, show me in Revelation where that starts happening.
Why did she have green blood? Why did Satan pop her head off?
Wait, I didn't even notice the green blood.
Yeah,
when
she
was
had
that?
like green goo leaking. That was the robot.
Oh.
Maybe like right after I guess it was probably like 10 minutes after the "get away from me, you motherfucker," they cut back. She still works as a computer, by the way, without her head and can talk and everything, but it's just like wires and
I missed that
green
whole
goop.
fucking scene.
Maybe it skipped it. Maybe it got cut out on the Amazon version.
It could have, or I could have been distracted. Listen, with the pacing of this film, there were several times when I was looking somewhere else. So, but I might
What
have.
if Siri was a sexy dominatrix-looking android? Hard-hitting question. I agree, Riley. I'm so glad that's not what an Alexa is. You set that up in your house. Just a lady
That's awesome.
that looks
Yeah,
like a
she's got
sex doll.
got the Catwoman suit on, and
Yeah.
Alexa, add this to my grocery list. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be.
Got it.
Not now, Alexa. Come on, you're supposed to be
Adding
making me more
toilet paper
productive.
to grocery list. Yeah.
Oh my god. Fuck. Okay, so I was just scribbling notes as I watched
love that.
this. I had I I wrote Bermuda Triangle with exclamation points and underlined because I was so shocked by that turn of events. And I'm really honestly disappointed because I'm like, that could have been very cool.
Right?
And then it turns into the devil has a portal from the Bermuda Triangle to the dark side of the moon where he's transporting ships to steal their crew's souls so that he can be more powerful than God and destroy the universe.
And that was just a throwaway line, by the way. Like, that wasn't emphasized.
They don't go
For
into
every
any
soul
of-
he eats.
He's 100 times stronger.
Right.
And I'm like,
So-
you could have had 3 and you would have been, that seems like that would have been good.
Well, that was me like, so how strong is God? How many souls does he need to, like, eat
Yeah,
to
what's the soul power?
get to be powerful enough?
Yeah.
And heaven and hell are just the universe. When's
And
this
how does
battle
the
gonna
devil know
take
how to
place?
quantify this? Like,
Right.
show me
He's
the
got
numbers.
like a D&D sheet
Yeah, he's just stats.
calculating it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got a little abacus. He's moving one over.
Yep. And like, is taking souls what he says? Is that like the stomach subsummation that happens at the like?
Yeah,
You
where
know,
is that? That explains
point
nothing
do
we've
you-
seen. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was so.
It was a
so
lot.
fucked
There were a
up.
lot of things that occurred.
I love,
I love that the gore looked like a giant pair of wax lips inside the guy.
Yeah.
Like, that is not what organs look like. Also, most well preserved corpse in the world. It was just an alive guy
Yeah,
that they put on the table.
they were just freestyling the anatomy on there. But I think the aliveness would be explained away by the devil. But yeah, they should be wondering about why this guy is so recently deceased.
I felt like it would have punched up the tension if the corpse had looked like a corpse a little bit.
Yeah, then he starts coming, standing up and talking and shit. Also, oh my God, I just remembered. Sorry. So they know, after they know this is fucking happening and they've seen this like with 4 of their people, they still leave that one guy like at the end of the movie
alone,
just alone on the table, door open, and he gets up and he grabs a gun and walks out and starts shooting people. And it's like, what, huh? Who are you?
Oh,
it was
the poor one lady in this movie, other than the android. I felt so bad for her character and for her.
Yeah.
Because it was like, sexism in 2022 in space is still a problem.
Yeah, that's
and now you're dead.
The only
that
thing.
Was the whole function of your character.
That did suck. Originally when I thought we were seeing sorry, I just saw Riley's comment is God not allowed in space. Why didn't he step in at any point?
God's too busy.
Yeah, that's why you have free will. He works in mysterious ways.
It would, yeah. This is all for a purpose.
Mm-hmm. You know, like when Abraham had to kill his son, these, space people have to go get taken by the devil.
He just needed to think that he needed to kill his son.
Right.
He
just needed to be willing to kill his son.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, when I thought we were dealing with aliens and I saw this like cat eye thing, I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. That's interesting. And then so that first interaction with the girl crewmate and the dead body from the Discovery, when he, comes to life and his eyes are cat eyes and he's like, you're gonna fucking, I don't even remember anything he said because it was inconsequential.
It didn't really mean anything.
Nothing meant anything. They were always just like, I go by many names and you're gonna know my power. And it's like, okay, well, we have bigger things to worry about here. Seems like
here is wisdom, which is what I'm gonna say walking around my house from now on. Here is wisdom.
And then he says something that's not very wise. But when she turns around and he just punches her in the back, like, I audibly laughed out loud. I was like,
there were a couple moments where I did too. I was just like, oh.
I was like, what genre are we in? This is how the devil is going to take out this woman? He's going to punch her in the back.
Yep.
It was so...
And she's just like standing there getting murked. She did not move around that space enough. I would be like running around the lab table trying to get away from Satan. But
leave the room, perhaps. She even turns around. She's like, "Well, I got shit to do," and he's gonna punch her in the back.
Guess I die now. Yep. Oh, and that was when Captain Himbo was doing research on the Bermuda Triangle in the room, or co-captain, or whatever he was, first officer Himbo, probably.
Mm-hmm. Lieutenant.
My favorite sequence of the whole movie was when he pulls up the coordinates and then he's like, remove every digit except for 6.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's 666. Like, of course it is. You just told the computer to remove every number except the number 6.
I have that written down. Yeah, remove.
Internet conspiracies in a nutshell. Like, oh my God, if you only leave the thing I want to see, then you only have the thing I want to see. It was so good. Funny
because they're showing like the numerals and it's a shit ton of numbers on each of the coordinates and he's like, remove all numerals except 6, and so then they're all disappearing and then it's like 666 and he's like,
oh my God,
because they would have been the 666th ship, and those two things are the only indication that he has that this has anything to do with the devil, and yet that's somehow right. And I'm like, and up leading to this they don't have any sort of religious anything. Nothing to indicate that he's having a struggle of, maybe he's a religious man and now he's into science. There was really nothing in the story until this twist where it's like it's actually the literal Christian devil. Surprise.
They could have had like a little interaction between one character who's wearing a cross necklace and then this guy talking about, oh, I don't believe in God or whatever. I lost my faith because this thing.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah, I liked the line at the end. It was almost good with the, you don't believe in God, but you've always believed in me. Why is that? So and so. That was kind of like a neat thing, but it was 5 minutes before the movie ended, so there was no time to explore that
Yeah. And also, like,
character aspect.
nothing that set that up. If we would have seen that, if we would have seen this guy be pessimistic or something, or, I don't know.
Yeah.
Leslie telling him about the mark of the beast was my favorite part of the whole movie, says Riley. That's good.
The Christian Bible, Revelations 13:18, the mark of the beast. Thank you. Thanks, Leslie.
That's all I needed to know.
I already looked that up on my iPhone while I was sitting here because I knew "Here is wisdom" had to be a line from the Bible.
Oh, was it?
Because nobody talks like that. Yeah, that's that verse where it's like, "Here is wisdom, and everybody will know the number of this. This is the mark of the beast, sign of the end times, etc." It really is Revelations 13:18, but they edited it a little bit to be spookier. I don't know. Didn't work.
The line "Here is wisdom." I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of sad that it's not an original to this film.
Oh, but yeah. It also made me think of that meme they used to have with the wolf head over the spirally colorful background. I don't know if it was called like Wisdom Wolf or something like that.
Yeah,
that might
like
be an elder millennial meme.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Here is wisdom.
Here is wisdom.
Do the thing.
I'm gonna start saying that.
Yeah.
I had one moment of actual terror in this film, and I don't know if it's necessarily because of anything that this film has set up, or it's because of my own submechanophobia. But when he gets into that room full of water on the ship, and he's like, "It's like a fish tank in here," and then the music starts getting eerie, and I'm like, "You're in water, and there's metal, there's a ship." I was like, my skin was crawling. I was like, "This is the most scared of a movie I've been in a while."
Oh, you and Jason can talk about this. Like, he is so afraid of underwater things.
Yes, me
like
too.
Things that aren't supposed to be like buildings or parts of things or whatever. Yes. I'm like, okay. I have never wanted a shark to show up more earnestly in a horror movie than at that moment. I was like, "Stay shark, stay shark, stay shark." No.
I wanted a shark so bad. Shark. I was very disappointed. I thought surely he's gonna get attacked by a shark because this is like
so what got him?
Connection.
Because Satan was on the ship. No, but he was on the other boat.
I think he can jump back and forth because he's in all these different people kind of simultaneously, but at different times. So I think.
Yes, but I felt like he needed to stomach grab people. So, like, who put him on the meat hook?
Stomach grab one person.
Yeah, it just felt like that was necessary for the transfer, but maybe it wasn't.
It could have been. Know. They really don't explain any of the way that possession works. It's also a very interesting take on possession, which I don't think. With all these like Conjuring and like
very
recent
physical
demon movies. Yeah, it's very physical. Like there was nothing that would really have my mind on this is demon possession because of how I've been sort of primed to expect that kind of supernatural
and actually,
stuff.
This is the first time I've thought about it in that context because that's what it really is, but I didn't think of it the whole time because it's so lacked in like a spiritual sort of feeling for any of it.
Yeah.
Was kind of monstery, which was neat, I guess.
It was very monstery, and I like that about it.
Please make Ty watch The Deep House next.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah. We'll have to do a we try to scare each other. Like I'll just tell you what generally works, and you can tell
what are you afraid of in movies?
I mean, I like an uncanny valley human-y creature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long fingery, long limbs. That usually works on me,
Mm-hmm.
So, good creature. So, here's my other suggestion for making this movie better is how they chose to use Chekhov's dairy allergy. I think could have been cooler.
Yeah.
If, so just working off of him taking over these physical bodies, wouldn't the body he took over still be affected by the deadly dairy allergy?
Yeah.
That would have been a cool direction to go.
Kill the devil with
milk.
milk.
It ended up just being the signal to show him that, poor doctor guy had been subsumed by the devil. But yeah, I really wanted that to be like, oh, now what are you going to do, Satan? You're lactose intolerant. So
that was a funny line of I'm not just allergic. My whole fucking shit'll break down and I'll.
Yeah, he was I'm going to have a heart attack.
Close. Yeah, I'll have a heart attack. And I'm like, Is that a real condition?
Surely not.
Yeah.
But
Not that I've heard of, but hopefully, my
yeah,
heart
that
goes
was
out
one
to
of those
anyone out
moments
there.
too, like, oh, the only lady on the spaceship is making everybody's coffee, and she did it wrong. So
I didn't even clock that. Like,
yeah,
as I was watching this, so I watched this today, and I started watching it when I like woke up and was making breakfast. So I pulled it up on my phone and was watching it in bed, and then Christy heard me and came in and saw me.
yeah,
So I paused it and I went downstairs and started playing it while I was making breakfast. So a lot of this, like, I maybe wasn't seeing everything that was happening, but
it's
so much of it was like I started very, paying attention, but the pacing and like so much of the stuff where I
mhm.
was like, I don't really need to be looking at this right now. I can do other
You
stuff.
don't. It's not a movie that you can't like just be on Reddit during because you're not gonna miss anything plot wise.
Yeah,
But
there's very
you
little
know,
happening plot wise.
I
Like,
mean, I fucked around on my phone a little bit, but I missed that the girl character's name wasn't Cookie. I thought it was Cookie because the
the
the asshole
creepy, yeah,
guy, not the scientist,
the
but the
repair
other
guy.
guy who was a
Yeah.
dick, yeah, called her Cookie, which I guess was like him just being a douche. But I thought that was her name. Turns out, no, he was just her name was Alex.
Oh, I didn't
But
know her name either.
yeah, I thought her name was Cookie. And I'm like,
No.
that's really stupid. But I guess that happens in sci fi where people have like weird names.
Yeah.
But no, it was just one of those moments where it's like, we still sexually harass people in space in 2022.
Oh gosh. So
Yeah.
how do you think they estimated 2022? Because that's also, a
Oh,
big
yeah.
topic
Jay
of the
and I
stream.
kind of talked about this last night in that, like, the period of time between like 1960 and 1980, science was just moving so incredibly quickly that I feel like people thought that they could spin out that same speed of development in like a decade at a time, and that surely these things would just continue to become more and more like, you know, things that we're imagining will become real. I mean, in some ways they have. Like back in 1990, it would have been completely unheard of to have a computer this powerful, this small,
Right.
that I can put in my pocket. It just didn't apply to like space travel in the same way,
Yeah, that's
or
very
like
true.
colonizing. Like, we still, faster than light travel is such an essential part of like expanding space to humans in any way. And it's just such a concept that like we can't conceive of. So,
Yeah,
I
I
guess
totally
maybe
agree.
that's kind of it.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
overestimating, or maybe, yeah, it's just trying to predict, and that's,
yeah.
impossible to do. But yeah, it is like overestimating our abilities on a large scale to do things, but underestimating like technology that we like they still had those
Right.
big bulky TV boxes, and of
Oh
course they're
yeah.
going to, because like what are they?
All the
That's
screens were so like
yeah.
very small, even though we have giant TVs now.
Hmm.
But the interesting thing is like space travel, even now, these people were just walking around and sitting totally fine. They're not strapped into anything. Like the artificial gravity is so perfect in this pretend projection. Like that's not how that
Yeah, we
works.
don't have all that.
People are still like tumbling and whatever,
Oh,
and
wait, I just remembered at the end when like the big, suspenseful moment of the Lieutenant Mullet coming off of the Discovery back into their ship. He is in
in
open
the
space
vacuum.
with no helmet. He's just hanging on. He's
Zero
like, open
consequences.
it.
There's just some dust flying.
There's
Yeah,
just,
like that.
yeah, it's
He
like
would not have
snow.
lived.
That's what I
Yeah.
wrote. I wrote in the space with no helmet, question mark, because like, yeah, what was that? That's not a
Fuck
thing that happens
explosive
in
decompression. I have a
2022.
mullet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
like no, that would not have happened.
I was like, how
And they
did they even
were,
explain getting that? Like, these
yeah,
guys out in space with nothing on.
carelessly firing a gun inside a spaceship too, like multiple times. What if you
Hmm.
punctured something? You're all gonna die.
Why would
But
these people even be armed to go repair a space station, anyways?
right, it implies an enemy that does not exist. Like, because
Yeah.
there were no aliens. That was not even something they talked about. Even
No.
Leslie, I think, confirmed that there's been no contact with any other
Yet.
sort of extraterrestrial life form yet. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So yeah, why would they need guns? Who are they shooting at other than each other if there's no
each other.
aliens? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. Weird.
Yeah. Well, so I don't think Satan is probably coming for us in 2022, mostly because, as Jason pointed out, we have no plans to go to the moon in 2022. But we are planning to go to the moon in 2024. So it's possible that this movie was just 2 years ahead of its time,
Wow.
and Space Satan will, in fact, be finishing up his plans of siphoning lost travelers from the Bermuda Triangle as a protein shake to confront God.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I think we've all been afraid of this whole time. That's why we haven't gone
Yeah,
back.
it's actually
So,
something I hadn't considered. I really wanted, at the end of the movie, they do this like, this was one of my favorite parts actually, where they pan over all of the
I
wrecks
loved
on
that.
on the moon. But I really wanted Amelia Earhart's airplane to be there
Oh
because I
yeah.
feel like that's the seminal tale of the Bermuda Triangle, is the
Yeah.
Amelia Earhart one where she disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. Oh no. I was really afraid of that as a kid. I don't know why.
I
It
think
seemed
that's what
freaky
Riley
and neat.
said too. Is that
Oh, childhood fear of the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah, the Amelia
same?
Earhart thing freaked me out. I'm like, that's not cool.
Yeah, because we flew through there at one point,
Oh,
not that long ago, because I went to Europe a couple years ago to see my
shit.
sister, 2019, and I flew through there, and I was like I'm a little low-key very
Goodbye.
scared of this. And we went on a cruise when I was a kid, and I was very worried that the cruise was going to go through the Bermuda Triangle. It did not. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
But I was like, you guys let me know if we hit that fucking triangle. I'm jumping ship.
Well, are
But
you offended you weren't good enough for Satan's protein shake? Maybe he was just like, these souls not strong enough. Me,
no, I'm fine with that. I think that,
same.
he will utilize me in other ways later down the road. And
Have
that's
more of an important purpose.
exactly. Um, why was this movie sponsored by the NRA? Why so many guns?
I,
Exactly.
I thought they were paintball guns. Turns out they're not. It's actually a type of real gun that is used very commonly in sci-fi movies because it looks futuristic, but I could have sworn that they were using paintball guns as props.
That's cool. I want one of those. Not one that works, not with real
No,
bullets, but just to have,
um,
because it does look very
it's a
cool.
Steyr AUG, which, yep, futuristic looking kind of goofy gun.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hell yeah. They also like weren't well trained with them if they were supposed
No.
to be out there. Like
Just
they were pointing
pointing
them
at
at each
people.
other like casually, not even like in a threatening way, but just constantly they had the guns pointed at each other, and I kept being like noticing that and just wanting to like
Mhm.
push the barrel of the gun out of the line of.
They did have it happen the one time where Lieutenant Mullet was like,
Well, yeah,
Dr. So and so, calm your tits, please.
don't get
We
weird
are
on
in
me.
space.
And I'm like, that's a
Yeah,
pretty good de-escalation method. Don't get weird on me. I'm gonna put that one in the bank for myself. Don't get weird on me.
it's true.
Yep.
It's better than calm down because everybody finds that like universally upsetting. So we all need to switch to like, don't get weird on me.
Yeah,
It'll work better.
I loved that.
Yeah.
So also, when Hannah and I have been looking up stuff about this film, we both noticed that the Wikipedia page is just barren. There's like
Yep.
two things about it, and what's funny is that despite there really being nothing about this film, two separate bands from different countries have sampled this film in their
Right.
like metal music, and I
Is
listened to
there
them.
like a big market for straight to video American films in particular parts of Eastern Europe? Is what I want to know.
I have no idea.
Me neither. But
I don't know, but the Swedish song, I listened to it earlier, kind of slapped. I want to play a little bit for the stream.
yes, I want to hear it.
I don't think
I'm
it
excited.
has. I don't think we're gonna run into any copyright issues.
If we do, I'll just be excited about it, honestly. Like, this band is still out there.
Um, it's man, let me let me pull up what it's called because I listen to it on my computer, so it's not in the history on my phone.
It is Crypt of Kerberos, the song Devastator.
Um,
Kerberos being spelled like Kerberos. There was also a German black metal band called Nargaroth, which used samples of spoken word, but the German dubbed version, of the film in their track from their 2004 album, Pro Satanica Shooting Angels.
Hell yeah, yeah. I listened to it both. I liked this one a lot more, the Swedish one. Uh,
Okay.
so here it is.
You
Well, this
booked
is
a
an ad.
sunny Verbo ski chalet with endless
It
views
sounds
of
like
snow-covered
Simlish. Can you
peaks.
understand what they're saying?
No, I heard Swiss Chalet, which is a Canadian chicken restaurant.
Oh. So that was the sample.
And then it's just like guitar riffs. There's no actual like singing from the group or anything. It's
No,
just
yeah, it's just like metal instrumental, and then every once in a while they'll overlay or like play the a little sample from something that the devil has said. But I
I
like that
will
it starts
say
with "You
somehow
belong with
that
me."
the Satan voice didn't seem hackneyed to me. Like it wasn't cheapy. I actually liked the deep voice. However, they did that. I don't know what they did, but it sounded good to me. A
Yeah, I
lot
didn't
of the
mind it.
time, the demon voices in horror movies come across more silly to me
Mm.
than anything else. This one didn't do that. So that was kind of refreshing, I guess. But again, I guess I wasn't really thinking of it as like a demonic possession. It was more monstery. So,
Right.
but
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Once I realized it was the devil, I didn't think it was as cool. Then
I
it
know,
kind of
right?
I
I
was
wanted
like,
it to be an alien. I'm like, why is Satan less scary to me than an alien? But,
yeah.
he is. It's just kind of boring then.
It was like it got super weird. I'm like, this would have been so much better if there was an alien race doing this Bermuda Triangle transport, but I
Yeah.
guess the devil was
Or if it
fine.
really was an alien monster that inspired the mythos of the Christian Satan, that would have been neat,
That would have
you
been
know.
way fucking cooler.
Mm-hmm.
But that wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have made any sense because it would have been like
No,
there's nothing in the Bible or with Christianity that has to do with the
about the
devil
Bermuda
and the
Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle. It was
Well, if you take the Bible and tell Leslie to remove every letter except what spells Bermuda Triangle,
then it spells
then
Bermuda
actually it
Triangle.
does. Exactly.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
Leslie, we did it. We figured it out. Holy
Everybody
shit.
needs a Leslie. Okay, overall, one to 10. What do you give The Dark Side of the Moon?
I'll give it a 4. It wasn't, I think visually, I can't help but, I really love the vibes. Vibes are an
Mhm.
8 for me. Uh, Story is a 2.
Yeah,
And acting is a 2. So I'm just gonna go in the middle of and say 4.
yeah. I'm kind of torn between 3 and 4 myself. Like, it wasn't. There is a type of movie that is offensively bad to me. Like, I am
Yeah.
offended that I was made to watch this. This wasn't like that. It was just, I would never watch it again. I would not recommend it to people, probably. I'd give it like a 3, probably.
Yeah, this is something that I feel like a 3 is fair. I also think that if it had come with it being a 1990 film, like at this point, so many good films, like very similarly, had already been made and done really well. If this film
Yeah,
had come out in the 70s, I think it would have been a banger. But
true.
20 years later, it's going straight to VHS, and that's what
Yeah,
happened.
because it is just so obviously a hodgepodge of other better sci-fi horror movies that had already been made. And
Yeah.
what really sucks is like, well, it doesn't suck. It's great for us. But like 6 or 7 years later, Event Horizon comes out and just absolutely blows this movie like out of the water and out of the water again
I haven't
in
seen it.
terms of doing something. Oh, you have to watch Event Horizon.
Event Horizon.
Yeah,
Okay, hell yeah.
yeah, very good. Classic sci-fi horror movie. Way freakier, actual tension involved, some actually
Okay.
scary moments. So yeah. Um yeah, this is just like when you make a photocopy of something and you're running out of toner, that's it's
Yeah,
it's aliens in the thing, but like you're running out of toner,
yeah, definitely.
replace the cartridge.
And then somehow the devil, and none of it makes
Yeah.
any sense. And there's still
Nope.
like it had all of the ingredients to be really cool, and then it was just like, you know.
Yep.
But it was fun for me to watch. Like I said, I love the vibes. I love the space mullet.
Some of
Um,
the unintentionally funny moments were just so fucking funny.
yeah,
Like,
it really they flipped genres a few times in there. It did become a full on comedy more than once.
yeah. I need that like remove all digits except for 6 thing to become a meme
Yeah.
somehow. Like, remember kids, if you select only the information you want to be true, then it will be true. you know.
It really should become a meme. We should just rip that part of the
course.
video, and I
No
tried.
one's watched this movie. So.
Yeah, they won't know it, but we'll
No.
just get that and repost it enough to where people know it.
Yeah.
We'll put it on TikTok. Then the kids
There you
will
go.
go wild with it. They love TikTok.
The kids.
The
They
kids,
just
they love TikTok.
Yeah.
Me, I am the kids. All right, fam. How are the vibes here? How are we feeling?
Vibes are good.
The
I
vibes are
think
good.
you know, we vibe well with the 90s, but with our logo and being,
True.
you know, 90s kids of the way.
Yeah.
Granted, I had not been, you know, born when this movie came out quite yet, but I soon would be. So,
Yeah,
you know,
me too.
just a little bit. But yeah, I think we're going to attempt to see the new Scream movie if safety allows for it. If not, we will make an alternative plan for an
Yeah.
edited video later this month. So we'll
Yeah,
just see what's going on.
I know a theater that usually is pretty empty, so that's where I'm gonna try to see it if they have it. So that'll be the thing, and if they don't, then I'm not gonna fuck around in a big theater.
No, my plan was to go to like a matinee. So,
That's cool.
you know,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens because we're all boosted and everything, but nobody else is.
Right. No
I'm gonna
one-
do an AMA like AMA. I am the only person in North Carolina who still wears a mask when they go places.
Fucking seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Riley, for hanging out. Thank you, everyone else
Yeah.
who's watching, for hanging out. This has been a really fun stream. I'm 2022 is looking good. We're going into the unknown and facing the devil.
Yeah, if you end up watching this movie,
Blowing 'em
pretty
up.
please personally contact me with your favorite moment. I just want to hear about it and talk about it.
Yeah.
It
Or leave
was,
a comment on this.
Yeah, actually comment on the video and just remove all digits except for 6 from a bunch of stuff and see what happens.
Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, creep it real, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.